Hello everyone, glad to see you all here. Thank you for coming. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Cinta Kartika Putri, and here I'm responsible for providing information as a former of cheerleader athlete in senior high school. In today's presentation, I will give you an overview about what is cheerleading a sport, and everything about cheerleader. If there are any question you like to ask, please leave them until the end and I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, now let me share my screen. I'm sorry, it will maybe take a little time. Oh, here. Okay, cheerleading. Here's the outline of our presentation. First of all, we will talk about definition and history of cheerleading. Next, the techniques, accessories, etc. And the last one is association or organization and championship in cheerleading. Definition and history of cheerleading. But before I start my presentation, I will ask you all, does anyone know what is cheerleading? Yes, cheerleading is an activity in which the participants, called cheerleaders, cheer for their or another sport team as a form of encouragement. It can range from chanting slogans to intense physical activity. Cheerleading can be performed to motivate sport teams or to entertain the audience, or it can be for competition. Okay, now let's take a look at history of cheerleading. In the 1960s, students from Great Britain began to cheer unison for their favorite athlete at sporting events. Soon, that gesture of support crossed overseas to America. Organized cheerleading started as a male all-male activity. This cheer was yelled from the stand by students attending games as well as by the athletes themselves. In 1923, at the University of Minnesota, women were allowed to partake in the activity for the first time. With that addition, the cheering soon began to accompany by tumbling and acrobatic routines. Women cheerleaders were overlooked until the 1640s when collegiate men were drafted for World War II, creating the opportunity for more women to take their way onto sporting event sidelines. By 1948, the sport had grown so much at both college and high schools that Lawrence Herkimer, a former cheerleader at Southern Methodist University, formed the National Cheerleaders Association and began to hold cheerleading clinics. The NCA's first clinic was held in Texas and it drew 52 girls and one boy as participants. In addition, to give cheerleaders a way to compete against one another, the NCA was also the first organization to supply official cheer uniforms. Okay, now, so far we know that cheerleading is only for women, right? But the fact, the world's first cheerleader is a man. Okay, moving on to the next part, I'd like to ask you a question again. What do you think? Is cheerleading a sport or not? Now, let's find out what the criteria for an activity to be called a sport. The legal definition of a sport has been narrowed down to four key factors. 1. It must be a physical activity. 2. It must be some sort of competition with a winner. 3. There needs to be set by a rules. And 4. The purpose of the competition must be compare skills. So far, we can watch out that cheerleading is a sport, right? So interesting. And according to the AMA or American Medical Association, cheerleading definitely should be considered a sport. For the AMA, it's because of all the injury risk involved. Yeah, for your information, cheerleader is the cause of about two-thirds of all catastrophic injuries for high school female athletes. Among all sports, cheerleading has the second more injuries after football. Wow, that was crazy. The International Olympic Committee took one step further and it's actually begun the process of naming cheerleading as an official Olympic sport. Next, let's take a look at what the cheerleaders do in cheerleading. The first step to determining the cheerleader team's role in an athletic department's mission is to understand the main responsibilities of a cheerleader as crowd leader, spirit raiser, athlete, and as entertainers. As crowd leader, the energy and enthusiasm produced by the crowd can rally a sport team to play better and boost overall morale. It is the cheerleading team's task to unify the crowd in its efforts. As a group, they should begin sidelines chant and also make organic chant from the crowd stronger by yelling the words in unison with fans. As spirit raiser, on a game day, they should be more empathic. When a touchdown is scored, or a basket is made, they display their enthusiasm by waving palms, yelling, and celebrating. If spirits come low, they should use tactics to increase excitement, including starting a side planche and executing stunts, jumps, tumbling, and pyramids. As athletes, cheerleaders use their strength, endurance, and skill to be excellent crowd leaders, spirit raisers, and entertainers. Like other student athletes, cheerleaders should practice and train in order to be in top physical shape to perform stunts, jumps, tumbling, and pyramids. Cheerleaders use their strength to lift other team's members into the air, enabling them to use sign and palm more effectively. Endurance, endurance is imperative for game day as cheerleaders should lead the crowd until the end of the game. And the last one as entertainers. The cheerleading team should create rally, pre-game, timeout, halftime, and post-game performance. This performance boosts the overall excitement of the game, reviving the stadium's energy and keeping fans in their seat. Performance can include cheers, band and dance, sideline chants, stunt sequence, and cheer routines to music. Okay, let me turn now to the position in cheerleading. There are two positions in cheerleading. First one is base. Base is the person who is responsible for the weight of the flyer and serve as the foundation for the flyer in performing stunts. Basically, there are two kinds of bases, namely back base and side base. In some stunt, sometimes there are those who act as spotter, whose job is to help the flyer in wielding the stunt, without becoming a foundation like the base. And second one is flyer. The weight or height limitation to become a flyer are very relative, depending on the level of ability and strength of the flyer and base. Basically, the smaller, lighter members are more likely to be on the top and get thrown, but that's not really what it takes to be a flyer. The ability to hold or bear one's own weight is a major factor in becoming a flyer. In general, the flyer is smaller than the base, but this is not also true. but this is also not always true because other important factors to become a flyer are having good balance, correct technique, and not being afraid of heights. A good flyer is a member who can master the fear of heights and must be comfortable with the situation where the other member will lift members up to three, four, four levels or throw them in the air. If you have overcome this, next thing you need to have is to have a good balance. Next, the technique. There are three techniques in cheerleading: stunts, pyramids, and arm motion. Let's take a look at the stunts. There are basic two legs stunts, such as tight stand, extension, QP or awesome, split lift or teddy sit, shoulder stand, shoulder sit, and spoon. One leg stand, such as heel stretch, skill, liberty, bow and arrow, scorpion, arabesque, and TikTok. Next, transition stand switch up. A switch up is a stunt where a flyer begins the stunt on one foot, gets tossed into the air on that beginning foot, and lands on the other foot. First one, low to high. The stunt begins on a singular leg. It is pressed to the top, then lowered into a prep still on the initial singular leg. Second, rewind. A rewind is a cheerleading stunt where the flyer begins on the ground in a standing position. Next is basket toss, such as straight right basket, pike basket, two-touch basket, kick full, kick double, and back tuck basket. Pyramid. Sequences are often fast-paced and may involve a variety of hikes, mounts, transitions, release moves, and dismounts. There are three kinds of pyramid: 1.5 height pyramid, 2 height pyramid, and 2.5 height pyramids. Arm motion. Arm motion is an expression movement that reflects the strength and energy which is used as the basic expression or typical pose of the cheerleader. Turning to what accessories do cheerleaders use? Cheerleading uniform, socks, shoes, and shorts. Uniforms are a very important part in cheerleading. It spirits the teams. Girls typically wear a top with long sleeves. The tops can either be a full or top or a half top. The girls also wear a skirt or shorts, and the boys typically wear pants with a long sleeve top. Next accessories is pumps, megaphone, bow, and cheer bags. And the most important thing is first aid supplies. Okay, now let's move on to association or organization and championship in cheerleading. There are three associations. First, ICU or International Union. Two, ICA or Indonesian Cheer Association. ICA is the member of ICU. And the last one is FCSI or Federasi Cheerleading Seluruh Indonesia. But this association is non-member of ICU. Next, championships. There are a lot of championships in cheerleading. Let's take a look at international championships. There are 10 international championships, 1 Asian Cheerleading Championships, 2 Pan American Championships, 3 Copa Americana Championships, 4 World Cup Championship, 5 ICU World Cheerleading Championships, 6 University World Cup Cheerleading Championship, 7 World School Cheerleading Championships, 8 World School Performance Cheerleading Championships, 9 ICU Open Championships, 10 ICU Regional Championships. Now, Indonesian Championships. There are 4 championships in Indonesia. First one, ICA Cup. 2, ICA Central Java Regional Championship. 3, Indonesian Cheer Association National Championship. And 3, Indonesian Cheer Open or ICO. Okay, that's an overview of cheerleading. Now, just to summarize, let's quick look at the main points again. So, in cheerleading, so cheerleading is a sport, right? Cheerleaders are athletes. Cheerleaders fly, flip through the air, have superhuman strength, unbelievable endurance. They can catch people when they fall and keep going when most people would give up. That's cool. The main responsibilities of a cheerleader are crowd leader, spirit raiser, athlete, and entertainer. And there are three positions in cheerleading, namely flyer, side base, and back base, which have their own responsibilities. And there are also various kind of equipments and technique used in cheerleading, such as stunting, pyramids, which have their respective difficulties level. There are many championships and awards ranging from ICA Cup to World Cup championships. Okay, and finally, that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you all for your attention and interest. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask me, okay? Okay, now, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any question? Okay, if there are no questions, I will end my presentation here. Thank you very much for you all for attention and having a nice day. See you later.